Hello everyone! My name is Jenna, but you guys can call me Jen. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Hi, hello! Welcome to the start of another writing vlog. Or I guess in this case it's an editing vlog, because y'all, it's May 1st, and you know what that means? If you've been following me on this journey, that means we are now in the editing month. I feel like I called it something on my Instagram the other day, but like, we are in editing month. I have draft 2 printed off of A Favored Fey. We are going to be getting this bad boy ready to go off to my lovely friend Yeleni for editing. For like, she does like line editing, making it beautiful editing. So this is the last chance I have, last chance, quote unquote. This is the main chance I have to fix story stuff, to fix character things, inconsistencies, anything scene wise, and get that shit polished, and basically getting this book to a point where I'm like, okay, I'm good as a story level of things. Right now, I need to start polishing at a word level, at a sentence level, you know? So we are going from like not as big story edits as I was doing from draft 1 to draft 2, because ain't nothing as big as between draft 1 and 2 for me. Those story edits were crazy large. Now we are taking the story that I have written and we are rereading it, hence the printing it out. We are rereading this bad boy. And we are, I have not quite read through, I've read like a couple things from all 3 of my beta readers, but I have not gone into their edits properly. I am going to read this bad boy first, kind of make a plan of like what I want to do with this, and then I'm going to go read their beta edits, and then I'm going to see how I can incorporate them, how they kind of work with my own story plan, that kind of a thing. And then we're going to dive into actually editing that. So I am 61 pages into this 255 page document. You may say, Jen, isn't this book your biggest out of the 3 cozy fantasies? What do you mean? This is 125,000 words. I formatted this. This is shrunk to high heaven. This is going to be over 400 pages. And I know that because I formatted it. I formatted it for my beta readers. I formatted it into a ebook for them. And then in an attempt to print off the PDF, I wanted to see how long it would be. And it was like 460 some pages or something like that. Very long, very long. But I didn't want to print off that many pages because that's a lot of paper and that's a lot of ink. We don't want to do that. We really don't want to do that. So I went into my Scrivener file and changed it to size 11 font, single spaced, and I printed double-sided, so it's on every single, double-sided papers, etc. And printed that, and it ended up taking that 400 and some odd page book and shrinking it to 255 pages. So this is 125,000 words, and I have split this into bundles of 50 pages since the first time I picked this up. So that's why I'm on page 61, because I split it up when I was on like page 10, 11. So 50 pages from there, 50 pages from there, 50 pages from there, until I hit the 255 mark. My goal is to have this read through by the weekend, or at least by like Saturday, Sunday, and then I can make a plan after reading my beta reader notes, and then we can start editing properly and going through and like actually constructing this into something very close to the final product. So that is what this video is going to be. We are going to be talking about the reread process. We're going to be talking about my beta reader notes. We're going to be talking about how I want to implement them. And what are we going to do going forward? I don't know if this is going to be a full month-long vlog, or if it's going to be like split into 2 parts or whatever I end up doing, because I know I'm going to be using this entire month up until the last second to get this to my friend Yeleni for June, for her to edit this and make it pretty. Why? Because it's 125,000 words. It's going to take me a fucking long time. I am also absolutely terrified because for the first time in this process, I have officially hit a little bit of imposter syndrome. That sucks. It's the kind, I don't know if it's exactly like the imposter syndrome of like the direct, I'm calling it imposter syndrome. I don't know if that's the right term, because the imposter syndrome that I'm feeling is I'm terrified that I'm going to hit something in this editing process this month and it's going to derail my very tight timeline to publication. I'm absolutely fucking terrified of that. Why? Because it happened when I was editing draft 1. It took me over a year to get from draft 1 to draft 2. I'm so scared that this is gonna derail me again, because guys, I have changed in my head when I was gonna publish this book so many times. Originally, it was going to be in 2024. It was going to be fall 2024. I was going to release this book. Fall 2024, I still didn't have a second draft. So I was like, okay, great. It's going to be early 2025. Then it's going to be spring 2025. And then it was going to be summer 2025. And now it is late summer 2025, because that is the day that I am locking in stone. You know what? I'm going to tell you it, because this vlog is definitely going to go up after I announce the publication day and reveal the cover of A Favored Fey. Oh my god, I can talk about so many different things. I got a puzzle for the cover of A Favored Fey to do for like the release day of it. I am so excited about this. This is my favorite. I've done this puzzle twice now, truly. And this is, I think, my favorite cover of the 3. I am so in love with it, you guys. I've had it since Tess sent it to me. I have it on like all of my screens. I love it so deeply. I'm gonna just show you. This is the setup that I have most of the time around me. All 3 of my screens with all 3 of my babies around me. And it is genuinely so lovely. Anyway, so this is coming out August 14th. August fucking 14th. You guys are gonna be getting A Favored Fey. So it's locked in stone. Barring me getting in an accident, having to be in the hospital and like having to recover, barring me getting extremely sick, this is coming to you August 14th. So I need to not only edit this and all that kind of stuff, but I need to get everything like the ISBN ready. I got to get the files ready and all that kind of stuff. I haven't done this since 2023. I haven't done the nitpicky stuff. Well, I guess I did in 2024 because of my novella, but I haven't done it in a while for one of my books, and I kind of forget the process. So I'm gonna have to go through that whole process again, and like actually, you know, the back side of things, the admin side of publishing. So anyways, that is what this vlog is gonna be. It's gonna be me editing the fuck out of this. I can't even say it's going to be like me writing the 3rd draft of this, because at a certain point I can very clearly get a draft 1 and a draft 2 in my writing situation. Draft 3 occasionally, but by the time I'm done, it's just I keep re-editing the same document. I'm not writing fresh. I'm not writing a new draft. So it's just at this point like editing rounds. So we're starting editing round 2, and that is what May is going to be. This is going to be great. This is going to be fun. I'm using this vlog also for accountability to keep me on track. Despite my fears, I know I can do this in the back of my brain. I think I need to assuage those fears of like worrying that I'm not going to know what I'm going to do with this story to make it better or like to fix things. The only way I can assuage those fears is if I can finish this reread and make a plan. So that is what we're going to do. I have, I think 4 more, 1, 2, 3, 4 more days of editing, and it's currently, well, it's Thursday. Okay, so this will definitely take me to the weekend. 4 more days of rereading, and then I make my plan. That is the plan of action so far. And then I will recheck in when we're going through it. But so far, I can say in this first chunk of the reread, I've realized that I need to rewrite chapter 1 because I don't like the way it flows. It's kind of choppy and weird. It's not my preferred level of editing. I've also realized I really, really enjoy the way that I wrote the inciting incident, I guess you could call it. I really, really like those chapters. And so there are things that I really, really like, and are scenes that I'm like, no, this is great. Like, I love the way that this flows. It's at a point of just like word fixing. Also, I apologize. It's spring. They're doing a lot of work outside, so the mowers are loud. But yeah, so far we're going okay. I'm realizing I need to fix the beginning just a touch. There's a few things that I've already noticed that I need to bring in and to make clearer. So slowly but surely, we're getting there. We're getting there. And we are going to reread this bad boy and then fully dive into edits. So welcome to the editing vlog, editing round 2 for A Favored Fey. So let's get this ready to go off to my editor, to my friend. Let's do it. Oh, hello, friends. It is officially Sunday, May 4th. May the 4th be with you. I forgot it was Star Wars Day. Oh my God. In the back of my head, I knew, because I was like, I want to get as much of this book done, if not completed, done of the reread, so that tonight I can come home after dinner and watch Star Wars. So I remember that. It was, my brain was trying to tell me that I wanted to do that because I wanted to read, which I also do want to read, and I gesture this way because I have a stack of library books next to you. But hi, I have updates on this reread because I'm officially on page 215. Oh guys, I feel so much better. I feel so much better having like actually done this reread and like gone through with it. Well, I'm not finished it yet, but I'm nearly there. I have 40 pages left. Oh, guys. Okay, so the fear that I had right at the beginning of this, I realized now that I'm like past that fear, is a fear of getting to the end of this and realizing that I needed to overhaul this plot in a way that I did between draft 1 and draft 2. For some reason, my stupid little worm brain decided to believe that I was gonna have to replot this and do as much hard, heavy editing as I did between draft 1 and 2. I thought there was gonna be so much work that I was gonna have to do. I thought there was gonna be a really big problem that I was gonna have to figure out, and I was terrified that I wasn't gonna be able to do that and I was gonna get stuck halfway through the month. Granted, I could still get stuck halfway through the month. I'm not discounting the possibility of that, but I am not scared anymore because there's not a lot of work that I have to do on this draft. Structurally, anyways. There's a few little things that I have to do that I'm gonna be definitely doing, obviously. But as I was reading this, I realized how much I like this book as it is. Yes, there's a few things that need to be tweaked and changed and just like polished a little bit, but I love this book. I love the way that I've plotted it. I love the way that the story's coming out and the way the timeline is moving. Honestly, like, yeah, there's like one or two things timeline-wise that I've completely fucked, but that is just me putting a piece that was originally later in the book up. It was when I was moving things around, I didn't smooth it out properly, so those are easy fixes. It's an easy fix of a book, I think. There's just little things here and there that I have to add, and oh my God, guys, it's such a relief. It's such a relief. I'm gonna be finishing this today. I'm gonna be finishing this reread. As I said, I have 40 pages left because I'm on page 215. I have 255 pages in total in this book. We are right near the end of this. In the past couple chapters, I've noticed a few things when I was reading this. One, I need to rewrite the entire first chapter because I just do not like the way that it flows. I like the idea of the scene that I have there, but like, whoa, is the flow absolutely dog shit. It's so choppy. And I'm like, if I picked up a book that felt like this, I would put it down immediately. So we're gonna fix that because once I got into chapter 2, 3, 4 and like got into the groove of the story, I fell into the story, which is so nice of a feeling as an author, as well as someone who is reading this with the point of like editing, right? Like I'm reading it with pens and sticky notes in my hand to write notes to myself. If I can lose myself in a groove of the story as the author doing that, I'm gonna be really good with this book. Like readers are gonna be great. So I'm so happy about that. So yeah, we need to redo chapter 1. There's a few chapters in here that are a little iffy, and the past few chapters that I've had a little iffy. They're not actually that bad. There's like a few little things in like sentence stuff. Like at this point, some of the chapters in here just need sentence editing, which is amazing, which is so nice. There's a little like extra stuff that I need to add here and there, but I'm so happy with this. I'm so happy with this book. It's honestly wildly such a clean draft, and I say that having the end to read, and also in the past couple chapters, as I've been trying to say, because my brain is chaos right now. They have gone a little messier, actual like writing wise, which is something that I can fix easily. But they have gotten a little messier writing wise because these are new chapters. Like a lot of the first part of the book is rewritten from what I previously had. So it's like already gone through a round of edits, and these chapters are brand new chapters. So of course they're going to be a little messier. But if that's the only issue that I have, fucking I'm cruising, my friends. But yeah, Jen, as of today, much more relieved. Much more relieved. Oh my God. So we shall see how the last 40 pages go, but I'm sure they're going to be great and wonderful and amazing. I have had a comment from a couple of my beta readers, because I did say that I was going to wait to read all my beta stuff, which I have. I have not gone and like actually like looked and studied my beta readers' comments, but I have read through, like skimmed through all 3 of them when I received them, just to make sure like the emails were okay. And because I, in that moment, was like, wow, I feel the utmost imposter syndrome. I just need them to tell me I'm very beautiful and I know what I'm doing. So, you know, reading through beta reader feedback for compliments, that's what I was doing. Which is so, we all do it. A couple of them were saying that the ending felt rushed. So we'll see in these last 40 pages if I agree. But because a couple of them have said that the ending felt rushed, then obviously it's an issue that I need to fix somehow. We're gonna see if I know how to fix it, because sometimes I just don't know how to fix things and I'll just be like, it's fine. But yes, as of right now, we're cruising. I'm feeling good. I'm gonna read these last 40 pages and we'll see. We'll see with what kind of a plan I got so far. But so far, we have rewrite chapter 1, fix the timeline issues in a couple places, and then as I'm actively editing this book from top to bottom, like going through the draft and like reading the words, you know, a word and line edit more so, there are a few things that I need to add in places that I've decided. So that's gonna be fun to do as well, because I love a sneaky little add in at the end of things, you know? I love a sneaky little add-in. God, I love editing by hand. Like honestly, printing out your draft, getting a pen and like sitting through like this, there's nothing like it. I miss so many things when I'm editing on a screen compared to when I'm editing on paper. Yeah, I'm gonna miss stuff on paper too, but like the change of format just fucking works. Anyways, I'll get back to you when I'm done all this and I have a plan. I just wanted to update you that I'm feeling much better. Oh my god, bestie. It's been a second. Hey, it is officially May 18th. Technically 17th because it is 2 in the morning on the 17th. Well, it's 2 in the morning. I'm considering it the 17th even though it's technically the 18th. It's fine. I am just realizing that it is the 18th of May, and I have 4 out of the 5 parts of this book to still edit. Whew. Yep. In my head, I was like, oh my god, I have so much time. I very much do not have so much time. What the fuck? 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Before I have to have this to my friend Yeleni and off my plate so that I can join my friend's wedding at the beginning of June. Okay. Hi. Okay, so we finished the read through. We finished the reread of this bad boy. Great. I didn't immediately go into editing it in my document, which I'm regretting now. And I also kind of regret it in the moment, but I also was like, I'll give it a couple days and then I'll go into it. So it was like finished the read through on like a Sunday. And then on like the following like Thursday or Friday, I started actually editing it in the document. And we are officially 55 pages in to 255 pages of this edit. And we are officially done editing part 1. I am just struggling a tiny bit to find a groove with this actual like sitting down to edit thing. I did the other night. I found a weird little groove of like rewriting the entire like an entire chapter kind of a thing, and as I was rewriting I was like fixing the flow of the sentences into better things, and it was just like naturally coming to me, which was really nice. But for the majority of this I have been doing a lot of like copy pasting tiny sections and like fixing things here and there, which feels very disjointed and weird, but that's just how I've been editing this because I haven't dropped into it, which is annoying. But I'm liking the changes that I'm doing because it is basically just me implementing what I've thought about implementing as I was reading through this. Just implementing those changes and also like doing another read of it, right? So fixing wording, fixing sentences, etc., and implementing the weird things. I also realized I have not read any of my beta readers' comments. I should really do that. Like I did when I originally got each of their emails. I skimmed through so I know like the general vibe of each of their comments. I should really go back and read those. Which is, the fuck, I haven't done that. I should have done that before diving into this full edit. It's fine. It's fine. I will read them and I'll see how I'm doing. Because I think the biggest things were, there was a comment from one of my beta readers on the grief of having a disability. I have to go back and read her email again, but just like something on those lines. And then the main comment from Allie was timeline stuff, which after reading through the entire book, I was like, I think Allie was just a little confused. I don't think there's a lot of things in the timeline that needs to be fixed. And then I was realizing that that's probably a me issue of like, I know where things go and I think it's fine. Even though I've read this again, and there's a few chapters that are definitely like in the wrong spot because I copy pasted them funny. But I might add in what I did with A Little Luck, because on A Little Luck there was a countdown which kept the timeline very straight once I implemented the countdown. The first couple drafts were very wacky on that one. The timeline on A Little Luck was fucking bad shit. But once I was actually in it and like started implementing that timeline to like make everything make sense and that countdown, that's when everything kind of straightened out. So I might implement a countdown in this one as well, which is just at the beginning of the chapters, right? To like really solidify like what day is happening, when time moves forward, that kind of a thing. Because in my head, I'm making it clear in the copy, in the actual story of like when time moves forward. But I understand where people could get confused. So I'm wondering if doing that would just help confusion-wise. So if I do that, I'm gonna have to figure that out, which should be interesting. But it also makes kind of sense to have a countdown because I'm gonna have a countdown to like the next solstice, right? So the next change of season, the next thing, because this is the event that we're leading up to this whole time. It would make sense to have a countdown in here. That's why I'm thinking about it. But I don't remember what Julie's big thing was. I have to go look back at it. There was like, the one thing that I remember is there was a scene near the beginning that she felt was too long that needed to be cut down, which I think I did. After reading it again myself, I was like, that actually isn't that bad. So I think I tweaked it a little bit to like the balance of the scene and the flow of the scene was better. So I think that'll fix the issue. But yeah, so we just have 200 more pages to go through. And I don't think there's anything super big that I have to add or change. There is an entire character I did forget about at the beginning. I mentioned her at the beginning and then I never mentioned her again. And I need to add her in because I think adding her in will fix another issue that Allie brought up. So I'm gonna do that. But she's not like a big character. She's someone who is tied. She's not tied to the bud. She's the second in command at with the town guard. And I mentioned her in part 1, and then I never mentioned Amelin again. I completely forgot about her. Fun things you realize when you reread stuff. Also, there's moments in my head. The bitch in here, the fucker, Damien. You'll meet him. He's a fucker. In my head, he looks like Draco Malfoy, and yet author me in the past described him having black hair. But there is a moment near the back of this that like he turns into Draco Malfoy in my head. So I describe him having blonde hair and I'm like, oh shit. Like my descriptions have to be better. They have to be, the same. The things you realize when you're editing. Oh my god. But yeah, so it is May 17th, technically 18th. I have to edit the rest of it. My Scrivener file tells me that I have to write about 5,000 words every day to hit my goal of 115,000 words. So not even the full word count that this is. Because the full word count that this is like 125,000 or some bullshit like that. I gotta get boogieing. I have to do really big chunks of this, I think, every time I do it, to just do swathes of it, and really add in these little bits and changes and do a good edit of it. So I hand it off to my friend and then she can help me make it like just even better, on like a more molecular level. Not a big like renovation level, Anyways, and then I also did, because I was working on a query letter for Sage's story at some point in here, because of different reasons, there's going to be a querying vlog whenever I get those responses back from her. But there was a lady that I had connections with through winning something through an auction. I won a query critique through an auction and totally forgot about it until this year. And I was like, motherfucker, I gotta do that. So I emailed her to see if she was still open to doing it. And she's like, yeah, the offer stands. It's fine. Like, you won it through this auction. I'm not just going to take it away from you. So I decided I was going to write a query letter for Sage's story because I do want to query that book when it's done. I have not written it. And I also thought it might have been a good idea to do the query letter before writing it, so I have an idea of like more broadly of like what I want to do with the book, because I feel like once I get to the end of a book and try and write a query letter, then I'm too granular with the story. Right now I have the outline, I have the plot vibe, so that's easier to write a query letter on because you're not as granular. So I was like, I'm gonna write a query letter. So I did. I wrote a query letter and I sent it off to her. So around that same time, I also revealed the cover for A Favored Fey, right? To do that, I realized a couple days before, also because one of my people who are helping me launch the cover was like, "Bestie, do you have a description for this book?" And I was like, "No." I should probably have that so like the people who are sharing out the book cover can be like, this is what this book is about. I was not very lined up very well with this cover reveal for this book, but so I wrote the back blurb for this. What is probably going to be the back blurb, like when I actually go to implement that in like the cover spread, once I have like page numbers and all that kind of stuff and the thickness of the spine. Once I implement that into the back spread, I will probably edit it again just to make it better. But like I have the general bones of the back blurb, which we love. It's up on Goodreads, it's up on Storygraph, which is really cool. I did that the night before the cover launched, and I secretly put the cover into Storygraph and Goodreads. Nobody saw it because like I don't think anyone gets like updates from my author stuff, and especially on Storygraph that just appears. So those are on Goodreads and Storygraph now, which is exciting, and everyone seemed to absolutely love the cover, which is so cool. It's my favorite cover of the three. I'm just so excited. I'm so excited to see it in person once it's printed out. I think once I'm done this edit and I hand off the document to my friend, I'm going to take this entire book and I'm going to format it as is with all the front matter and the back matter. I got to figure out all the back matter too, because I got to do the glossary and the character list and do like acknowledgements and stuff like that, so I can have the amount of pages it's going to be. Because once Yeleni gets her hands on it, it's not going to change like full chapters being ripped out wise. It's going to be like word wise and sentence wise, so like the page count, it's not going to change a whole heck of a lot. So then I can get my cover designer the spine width so that they can do the entire spread for me, and then I can, you know, get that underway. But once this is off with Yeleni, I'm going to do that. I'm going to format the book, and then I think I'm going to get an ARC copy of it because I want to see that cover. I want to see it in a physical form, and I think it could be kind of cool to like edit through the art through that copy once I get Yeleni's edits back. I'm gonna do another read through myself so that I can actually see like formatting wise as well what other things I need to edit, if I need to like fix any widows or orphans or anything like that, because that bothers me as a magazine editor. So little things like that. That's the plan. I have a lot of plans and yet a very tight timeline. I also want to get pre-orders set up in June because I want to make sure that there are pre-orders for the paperback up, because that was an issue I had with Merry and Bright and an issue that I had with A Little Luck. Like the pre-orders just never went live on some platforms because fucking Ingram Spark doesn't work well with a lot of platforms. But I want to be able to make sure that that there's enough time for a pre-order period so that people can get it. But the thing is with Ingram Spark, there's 60 days from when you like upload your book. There's 60 days in which you can make revisions. So I don't want to do that too early and then run out of time, like exceed those 60 days before if I have to make any revisions, because I don't want to pay any money for that, because the amount of money I paid for a second story should be enough for a lifetime. I'm still salty about the fact that they implemented no revision fees and no sign-up fees on like May 11th. I mean, it is free to load your book into Ingram Spark, but like the revision fees bit me in the ass on that first one. Or no, did I have to pay? I paid a lot of money. I paid like over $150, maybe even $200 into Ingram Spark for that first book. I can't remember, but yeah. So June is going to be at mid-month, which is going to be interesting and fun. Just little things like that. There's so much on the back end of being an indie author. It's crazy. Anyways, I have been talking for so long. That is the update, my friends. I am now a little bit worried about timeline stuff. Not timeline in my book. Timeline for me personally in these next 2 weeks that I have to have this book entirely edited by. Let's see if it happens. Hello, friends! Oh my goodness. Okay, so it is officially May 22nd today. It's Thursday. May is almost over, and thus my deadline looms ever closer. But I wanted to actually pop in and do a full little update here. First of all, though. Full first update, of course, because officially I have hit 40-some thousand words in this draft. I am sitting at page 100 in the physical manuscript of 255 pages. So almost halfway through. I officially reread all my beta notes from my beautiful beta readers, and I have implemented
many of their comments. Nothing really stood out from across all three. Like, not all three of them had the same thoughts vis-a-vis like things that needed to change or anything. It was just a matter of, I think Phoebe, who was my beta reader for specifically for like chronic pain and mobility aid use, gave me an incredible tip that I think is going to help a ton with things that I'm implementing. And Allie was mostly, her issues were the timeline being a little confusing, which is valid. There were a few moments that like the timeline is a little off, but overall I think it's fine. Just little things that I need to change here and there. And then Julie didn't really even have anything like super anything like huge where I would have to like do big construction work within it, right? But it was like just little things here and there that were very helpful, like shortening the scene, doing this kind of stuff, all that kind of a thing. So of that, I'm really glad that I went back and reread all of their comments because of course it's very, 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 very handy. And yesterday actually was my biggest editing day. I ended up editing, I think it ended up being 17,000 words. No, that feels wrong. 15,000 words? It was between, the last time I checked my word count, it was 13,000, but now I don't remember what I posted to Instagram. But it was a fuck ton of editing, and I managed to reach the end of part 2. And what I did in part 2 is I actually took what was originally 11 chapters, sorry. I shrunk to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 chapters. So I took away 2 chapters in this, namely because when I was reading through my physical manuscript, there were a couple of places where my like chapter breaks felt wrong because it was like the same scene just carrying over. And I was like, you know what? Who the fuck cares? Because usually as I write, I don't know if any of you guys do this if you are a writer, I am always worried about chapter length because I want to make sure that my chapters are pretty balanced. Like we don't have one that's like 1,000 words and one that's like 5,000 words, you know? Because that doesn't feel balanced in a manuscript and whatever. It also doesn't really fucking matter because as long as your chapters are doing something, every scene's doing something, that kind of a thing, you should be fine. And there are books out there that have like a 1-line chapter in an array of like a couple page length chapters. So in those moments, I ended up taking the chapters and like whoosh, squishing them together. And then I realized part 2 has a lot of Mary chapters. It's mostly Mary chapters and Zanvi's here and there. And so I was like, oh shit, like I need to break this up a little bit. I need to have a Zanvi chapter. So I took what was going to be 3 Mary chapters in a row and I turned at, was it 3 Mary chapters in a row? It was like 2 really big, thick Mary chapters in a row. And so I took half of one near the bottom and then half of another, not even, like 1,000 words from one, 1,000 words from another, and I flipped the scene into Zanvi's point of view, which I actually think works so much better because that scene was, the chapter is now called Fluorescent Pink, which I think is a great chapter name. So what Zanvi sees is Mary actively doing her magic for the first time, like with her teas and stuff like that, and then he also sees her Fey Realm greenhouse as well for the first time. And we've already seen the greenhouse as readers. Like there's a regular greenhouse and then there's like a secret room in the back. That's her Fey Realm greenhouse. She didn't show him that before, but she showed him it because she needs help in rebuilding it because it was also damaged. We've seen that greenhouse through Mary's eyes. And I think having him see it is really cool because he is so woefully just not attached to magic in most ways. Like he is a shifter. He can shift into panther shape, but that's all he knows. There are so many different kinds of magic in this world because I've based this world off of like D&D lore, right? We have the sorcerer magic, which is innate. We have the druidic magic, which is also innate, but more naturally based. We have the wizard magic, which is learned. And then every other kind of being that is not human has magic in their veins, but humans do not. Fun fact. But so he is human, but he has shifter blood in him, so he's not fully human. But he has never really taken the time to learn about magic because magic is such an everyday thing in Revar, in Aramount. Though his 3 best friends are like magical beings, like Wynn, his best friend, is an elf, an elven being, and so she's, you know, got magic in her. She doesn't really use magic all that much because she's never really trained it in her, but she could have. That is my idea with magic in this world, is that beings with magic in them, different kinds of magic, different levels of magic, that kind of thing, most of the time, the majority of people just have like an everyday kind of magic. They use it here and there for little like cantrips and little things like that. But if you want to study it and get further in it, then you have the power to do so and like go to academies and things like that to like get better, or seek out a master, seek out someone to teach you, right? If you were a druid or something like that. So Wynn is an elf. She has a little bit of magic in her. She doesn't really use it. She's never really trained it. Jay is a sorcerer who's cursed, which I think is really fun. I don't talk much about their curse in this book at all. I just mention it here and there because they do not use magic because of this curse. They have the ability to, but they have a curse. So I think that might be something that I might explore in the future, this curse. Maybe a little bit of a Jay backstory. I don't know. I just like to leave little Easter eggs for myself in things that I can go back and like pick at if I so want to. And it does show like a very diverse world of like different levels of people and magic levels, and like different things are going on that don't pertain to the stories at hand, but like it just, like that's fine. This is slice of life. It's like everyday stuff, right? For them. Well, I guess this is not everyday stuff because magic is going all fucky. But anyways, and then Caius Mirthgrove is a fucking lava being. He's a fire elemental and he leans like magma fire level. So he is basically a walking lava rock. And so he naturally just has these abilities with heat and with fire. So he has magic in that way. Or I guess in his case, it's more power and not magic because it's just him, right? Like he can just do stuff with magma and fire and stuff like that. Whereas Ari, if you've read my first book, A Second Story, Ari is a wizard. He is trained to be a wizard and he uses material components to make spells work. Even though he is an elf and he also has magic in him. He can do magic without material components, but it is very rare and much harder to make things work. Material components amplify his spell work in my mind. And then like Finn from that book, he's full human. He got no magic in him. He's just a guy who likes to play with knives. And then we have things like Lottie from A Little Luck. Like Lottie is an earth elemental as well. She is like a tree being essentially, and she has magic in her, but she does not use any magic. Whereas her sister Cecily has more access to her magic, but again, doesn't really use it that much. Like she has a little bit of druidic craft in her, but like she doesn't use it again that much. But Lottie is a thief. She does not use her magic actively. She does have like latent magic in her, but like that's not explored in A Little Luck. Anyways, I love playing with magic and stuff like this. And the magic in, I don't even know how I got on this topic. I was talking about like Zanvi's level of understanding of magic. That's right. Like there's so many different kinds of magic in this world. There's also like godly magic, I guess, and clerics and healers and paladins and things like that, but we haven't really explored that in the Aramount books as of yet. So, well, we won't in the Aramount books, but like in Rivar, there are clerics and there is magic in that. So, and it's a different kind of magic, right? That's godly. So, yeah, it's Zanvi has never gone out of his way to learn more about magic because it is just an everyday thing in Aramount. And it's like, in my head, I'm equating it to like the everyday stuff that we are around that we may not pay attention to until we pay attention to it. Like if you were surrounded by a bunch of heteronormative straight people, you would not know much about the queer community unless you actively go and seek out the queer community, right? But it doesn't mean that the queer community is not there, you know? And you can always learn about it, and it's stuff like that. So like that's what I'm equating it to. It's just an everyday thing that like you can learn more about. Cooking, everyday thing you can learn more about. Like it's a skill, probably. Magic is, you know what? It's more equated to like cooking and baking, I guess, in this metaphor of mine, in this world, because you can go and you can make yourself better at it if you have the ability to. Humans are a different kind of breed in Rivar. They do not have any magic in their blood unless they have an ancestor that is a magical being. And if they are a human outwardly and they can do magic, they have a lineage in their bloodline that is magic. That's the only reason humans do not have any magic in them. Why? Well, you'll eventually see in the books that I write, because that is something that I picked out as a little bit of world building way back when I was planning Project Dragon. Fun fact. Anyways, back to A Favored Fey. I really like the way that Zanvi experiences Mary's magic because it's so subtle. It's not showy. In this moment, her everyday magic, she's a kitchen witch type of magic person who has access to the ley lines. And when she does magic with the ley lines, it's a lot more flashy, it's a lot more big. But her everyday magic with like tinctures, and teas, and using her innate magic as a Fey being, she can infuse teas with different things. And that's what she's doing in this scene. She's infusing this tea for him with resilience, because he's going to do a lot of work on her greenhouse this day. So she's like making sure that he can, you know, have the energy to do it and like the resilience to do it for a long time. That's what she's doing. And then he gets to see the greenhouse, the Fey realm greenhouse, which is one, destroyed, but less so than the material realm one because it's further in the back. And he also gets to see some funky plants. So I'm happy about that. I'm really happy with this switch. But yeah, yesterday was a huge editing day. I'm going to end this vlog here because I think I not only have done my reread in this vlog, I've looked through my beta reading edits, and I have made a plan of what I'm going to do going forward, and I am 2/3 of the way through this. So the next part of, like, the next writing editing vlog you're going to see from me is me finishing the edits for this, and then sending it off to Yeleni to get that done, and all that kind of a thing. And I've planned on, once this big edit is done for me and after I send it off to Yeleni, I'm going to take this, I'm going to format this in book form, and then I'm going to get a proof from Amazon so that I have a physical copy of it. And then that way I, one, have a book to hold up, and once I get Yeleni's edits back, I am going to edit them. I'm also going to do another pass through physically in the actual arc. That is my plan anyways, because I think that'll be a nice way. I like to change up the way that I look at my work, because that is how I find typos. That is how I find mistakes the best. Because if I'm just looking at the same Scrivener document, I'm looking at the same shit. My eyes are just filling in what they want to see. This is why I print off my manuscripts so that I can write physically on the papers and stuff like that. And I also see more mistakes that I would not see in a digital form. And then switching it again to a book format with a different font, a different color paper, because I always do cream papers for my books, and actually formatted, then I can do editing for format wise as well and get that all started. So that is the plan for the next bout of editing, which you will see in the next editing vlog whenever that goes up. But yes, we have 9 days left in May, and I have 3/5 of this book to go. I have 155 pages left to read through and implement all these edits from this physical manuscript into said document. We are ending this video at 49,360 words down for this document. I have a goal of about 115,000 words or 120,000 words. But I believe before, the manuscript before, draft 2 was 125,177 words. So if I can trim, if I can tighten a little bit, I will be probably around that 115, 120 mark. That's the plan anyways. I'm not going in actively trying to cut anything though, because there's nothing that I really need to cut. Who's to say? Who's to say what I'm gonna end up doing? But yes, thank you so much for watching. Let me know down below how excited you are for A Favored Fey. I will just simply read you the first lines of this book, because I think I quite like what I did with them, because I didn't like the original first line, actually, that I wrote. So the original first line, or first paragraph, I guess, was, Merlin had always been surrounded by oddness in her life. Strange things followed her realm to realm, in occurrences or creatures alike. It came with being known by the townsfolk of Aramount as the Witch of the Woods, or, as her actual title was, the Keeper of the Lines. So that's what it was originally, and I didn't love it. I don't love it. I really don't. But I fixed it to this. Strangeness flocked to Merowyn. Take, for example, the bottle-green wormling that clung to her shoulders whenever he could, often making a noise in the back of his throat like an anxious grandmother fussing over her soup's salt quantity. Much more apt for the vibe of this book, much more on theme, and I think it just works very well because Mary is surrounded by strangeness. So anyways, let me know what you think, and I will catch you in another video very soon. Stay kind and keep on writing. Look at that leg. Oh my goodness.